Hello kiddos, I want to show you a few things on here because I want to be very clear in my instructions. I know sometimes when we do things through Google Classroom or perhaps using a shared document or a data table that we might need to see things before we start doing it on our own. So I'm just going to remind you, yesterday at the end of class, we're in Google Classroom here, the recorder in your group clicked on this document, Paper Plane Lab Report Template. They clicked on that. They got this. They went to File. They made a copy of it. You gave it a new name. You clicked OK. After you did that, the recorder shared it with everyone in their group. So everyone should have a document that they're working on in their lab group from yesterday. That's the document you're going to open back up. Now, before we get into the agenda item of data analysis, we need to make sure we have some things filled in here on this lab report. Lab group names. If you did not get to that yesterday, everyone in your group will need to type their names, first and last. I wrote the question in here for you because we're all researching the same question. But here where it says hypothesis, that's where you'll need to write down your hypothesis that you wrote on page 18 in your lab notebook. That's your if-then statement. If a paper plane is shaped like blah, 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 then it will fly the farthest. You need to type that sentence here. Now in lab reports, we always tell what we used and how we did it. And since this is the first time we're doing this, I did it for you here. Here are the materials. Here are the instructions. So you don't need to put anything here. You don't need to put anything here. However, you will need to fill out these three things. What's the independent variable? We know what the independent variable is. We've discussed that a lot in this. We know that's the one thing that we made sure was different about the plane. You'll need to type that there. What's the dependent variable? What was the one thing we were expecting to be different? What was the thing that we measured? So you'll write the dependent variable there. And then I want your group to talk and think about all those things that we had to control, that we had to keep the same, about the plane, about where we did the experiment, about how we did the experiment. All those things need to be listed here. Notice this is plural. There's a lot of controlled variables. And then some of you got to this part yesterday where you had to take a picture of your plane, plane 1, plane 2, plane 3. If you did not, then you'll need to do that now. Remember, I told you if you didn't take the pictures to save them, bring them to class today. When you do want to put that picture in, make sure your cursor's in the right place. This would be for a picture of plane 1. Remember, everything on here is pretty easy to figure out. We just have to think logically, what do we want to do? What menu would we go to? It's going to probably be the insert menu. And image is another word for picture, right? So we're going to choose that one. And we know there's lots of different options. A lot of times we'll search for things. But here you need to make sure you have Take a Snapshot selected. And if you've never done this before, a box will come up that looks like this. See where it says Allow with the green check mark? We want to make sure that we allow. Then it's going to say up here, do you want it to allow to do this? Yeah, we do. We want the webcam to be able to use our microphone and our camera. So then you're going to click Allow on that. Okay, I'm going to go and close mine up. Your picture will then come up here. Okay, so that turns on your webcam. You'll hold up your paper airplane, plane 1 in this case. You would take your picture. It's going to be here, and it's going to be pretty big probably. It takes a pretty large picture. Obviously, we can't have them that large. We don't want this to be multiple sheets of paper for this picture. So you will need to drag from the corner of the picture to resize it to make it reasonable. In the end, we don't want this lab report to be more than 2 pages. Okay, so hopefully that part makes sense, filling it in up till here. And I'll talk to you about the data table stuff on the next part.